Hi, and welcome to another episode of Short and Sweet TV. We're going to be looking at how you can change the color of objects or areas of your photo in Photoshop. So there's a number of ways you can do this. And we're just going to run through probably the quickest and easiest way to adjust the color of certain areas within your photo. So we've got this lovely photo here of a butterfly, and we're going to change areas of the wings. We just want to change the color. So we might change that orange area to maybe a blue or a purple. In order to do this, we want to make sure we do it in a non-destructive way. Whenever we work in Photoshop, we don't want to destroy the integrity of the original pixels. So a method to work, or one method in working in a non-destructive way, is to make all of your adjustments and your changes on layers above your original layer. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new layer, and it's on that layer that we'll apply the color change. So to create a new layer, I just come across to my layers palette, and as you can see, I've got my original background layer here, but if I come to the bottom of the layers palette, I've got the new layer window button just here. So if I select that, creates the new layer above, and I'll just double click on that to rename it, and we'll just call it color. And it's on this layer that we'll begin to paint. Now I'll come across and select my paintbrush over here in the toolbar, and in selecting that, up the top here, it changes my control panel, and from this drop down here I can change the size of the brush. Now if I hover over this, that's probably a good size. I'll keep it at 50 pixels. And the hardness at the moment, that hardness represents the edge of the brush. It's set at 100%, which gives it a nice clean edge. I'm going to move it down to about 20% because that'll give it a softer airbrushed effect. Okay, and coming down here on the left hand side, you can see that I've got my color sitting at the front here is set to red, the foreground color. Going to change that. I'll just click on that once to open up my color picker, and if I drag my little slider here down into the blues and purples, and then I can just click and drag over the top of these colors here to select the blue. So I've chosen this blue here to be my color that I'll use as a source to change the color of the wings. So I can click OK now. Now you notice if I just paint directly on here on the wing, it doesn't show any of the tone, the luminosity underneath. It's literally just a block of blue paint. We don't want that. We want to be able to see all of this texture and gradient that's happening underneath. In order to do that, what I need to do is change the blending mode of this particular layer. Now, blending modes can be found in your layers palette just here, where you've got this normal drop down here. If I click to the right of that, I've got a whole bunch of other blending modes available to me. All the way down the bottom, I've got hue. So if I select hue, it changes the way that this top layer behaves, and as you can see, it's now transparent. I can see the color or the gradients and the texture underneath, so I can continue to paint now with the layer set to a hue blending mode, and I'm able to change the color of these areas without just blocking it out. I can still see some of the texture underneath. Now if I wanted to come across, I can click on this paint swatch again, and then maybe move it into some reds. Click OK on that one, and then continue to paint over the top, and it's now giving me that red hue. So as you can see, it's doing this in a non-destructive method. If I come across to my layer palette, it's all of this painting's being done on the color layer. I can just hide that layer for the moment. As you can see, my original is still there, and turn that back on, and then I've got my hue adjustment on the layer above. So hopefully you found this useful. This is just a quick technique in how to change the color of areas of your photo by using a new layer and changing that new layer's blending mode to hue, and then just selecting a paintbrush and painting over the top. I look forward to seeing you in the next short and sweet tutorial.